Have you ever noticed how different the world feels at night? The same room, the same life, the same problems, and yet somehow everything feels heavier after dark. A conversation you barely thought about during the day suddenly replays in perfect detail. A decision you made months ago starts demanding your attention again. Small worries become larger, unanswered questions become louder, and your mind, which carried you through the entire day, suddenly refuses to be quiet. If that's where you are tonight, I want you to know you're not alone. There are thousands of people lying awake right now, staring at ceilings, scrolling through their phones, turning from one side to the other, trying to convince their minds to settle down, trying to sleep, trying not to think, trying not to feel everything all at once. And maybe, instead of fighting your thoughts for the next little while, you can simply sit here with me. No pressure, no expectations, no need to solve anything tonight. Just a quiet space, a gentle pause, a place where you don't have to carry everything by yourself. Because sometimes the mind becomes loud, not because something is wrong, but because it's tired. And tired minds often sound convincing. They tell us urgent stories. They make old memories feel important again. They turn possibilities into predictions. They convince us that if we just think a little longer, we'll finally figure everything out. But often, that moment never comes. The mind keeps searching and searching and searching, like someone pacing through a dark house looking for a light switch that's already on. Maybe you've experienced that, lying in bed trying to mentally rehearse every future scenario, trying to prepare, trying to protect yourself, trying to make sure nothing goes wrong. Because if you think hard enough, maybe you'll finally feel safe. But overthinking has a strange way of promising peace while quietly stealing it. It tells you that more thinking will create certainty. Yet the more you think, the further certainty seems to move away, like chasing a horizon, always visible, never reachable. And that's exhausting. Maybe tonight your mind is reviewing conversations, wondering if you said the wrong thing, wondering how someone feels about you, wondering whether you should have spoken differently, acted differently, been different. And maybe you can consider something gentle. Most people are carrying their own invisible worlds, their own worries, their own insecurities, their own midnight thoughts. The things that keep you awake often aren't occupying someone else's mind nearly as much as you imagine. The human brain has a tendency to place itself at the center of every story. It's simply trying to understand its surroundings, but sometimes understanding turns into overanalyzing, and overanalyzing turns into exhaustion. It's like picking up a snow globe and shaking it repeatedly, hoping the water will become clear. The harder you shake it, the longer it takes for everything to settle. Sometimes clarity arrives not through effort, but through stillness. And maybe that feels uncomfortable, because stillness asks us to stop searching for answers, even temporarily. And many of us have spent years believing we must always be fixing something, improving something, managing something, preparing for something. The idea of simply existing can feel unfamiliar, but there is wisdom in pauses. Nature understands this. The ocean doesn't force every wave. The moon doesn't rush across the sky. Trees don't apologize for becoming still in winter. Everything alive has moments of activity and moments of rest. Yet somehow we expect ourselves to be different. We expect constant productivity, constant emotional resilience, constant certainty, constant progress. And when we can't provide those things, we become frustrated with ourselves. But maybe tonight, you don't need to become anything. Maybe you don't need to improve. Maybe you don't need to fix your life before you sleep. Maybe you can simply be a human being having a difficult evening. Nothing more, nothing less. Just human. There is something surprisingly comforting about that. Because being human means feeling uncertain sometimes. It means carrying questions. It means not knowing exactly what comes next. It means making mistakes, missing opportunities, changing your mind, learning slowly, healing gradually, growing unevenly. That's not failure. That's life. And maybe some part of you already knows this. Maybe the tired part of you has been trying to say it for a while. But the louder part keeps interrupting. The part that believes every problem must be solved immediately. The part that fears what happens if you let go. The part that says, think about it one more time. Just one more scenario. Just one more possibility. And then you'll finally relax. But maybe you've noticed that promise rarely delivers. Because overthinking isn't usually searching for solutions. It's searching for certainty. And certainty is one of the few things life never fully gives us. We don't get guarantees. We don't get complete control. We don't get perfect foresight. We get moments, choices, experiences, connections. And then we move through life, one day at a time. Sometimes that's enough. Sometimes it has to be. Right now. Maybe your room is quiet. Maybe there's a faint sound from outside. A distant car. A fan humming softly. The subtle rhythm of nighttime continuing around you. And while your thoughts may be moving quickly, your surroundings are reminding you of something important. Not everything is rushing. Not everything is urgent. Not everything requires your immediate attention. There are things in this world that continue without force, without pressure, without constant monitoring. Your breath is one of them. Notice that for a moment. Not to change it, not to control it, just to notice. Air moving in, air moving out. A simple rhythm. One that has stayed with you through every difficult day you've ever survived. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every uncertainty. Your breath has quietly remained. Steady, patient, faithful. And maybe there is something comforting in that. The fact that not everything depends on effort. Some things already know how to carry you. Sometimes when we overthink at night, we're actually carrying emotions we haven't had time to feel during the day. The sadness gets postponed. The loneliness gets postponed. The stress gets postponed. The grief gets postponed. The disappointment gets postponed. And then night arrives. The distractions disappear. The silence grows larger. And suddenly, those emotions have room to speak. Not because they're trying to hurt you, but because they've been waiting. Waiting for enough quiet to be heard. And perhaps tonight, instead of arguing with every feeling, you can simply acknowledge it. If you're sad, you can be sad. If you're anxious, you can be anxious. If you're tired, you can be tired. You don't need to transform every feeling into a lesson. You don't need to immediately overcome it. Sometimes feelings soften simply because they've been noticed. Like a child who stops shouting once someone finally listens. And maybe that's what your heart needs tonight. Not another solution, not another strategy, not another productivity hack. Just a little attention, a little kindness, a little room to exist. The world often rewards performance. achievement, efficiency, output. But there are parts of you that deserve care even when you're not accomplishing anything, especially then. Your worth does not disappear when you rest. Your value does not shrink when you're tired. Your importance does not depend on productivity. You remain worthy of gentleness, even on difficult days, even on messy days, even on nights like this one, maybe especially on nights like this one, because these are the moments when people often become hardest on themselves, when compassion quietly leaves the room and criticism takes its place. But if someone you loved came to you tonight and said, "I'm overwhelmed, I'm exhausted, I can't stop thinking," would you tell them they're failing? Would you tell them to try harder? Would you tell them they're falling behind? Probably not. You would likely offer understanding, patience, care. You would remind them they're carrying a lot. And maybe you deserve some of that same kindness. Not because you've earned it, not because you've achieved enough, simply because you're human. The sky does not earn its stars. The ocean does not earn its tides. A flower does not earn its right to bloom. Some things are valuable simply because they exist, and so are you. Tonight may not be the night every answer arrives. Tonight may not be the night everything makes sense. Some questions may remain unanswered. Some worries may still be there tomorrow. Some uncertainty may remain. And that's okay, because peace does not always come from solving everything. Sometimes peace comes from deciding that this moment is not the moment for solving. Sometimes peace is simply setting something down for a while. Not forever, just for tonight, like placing a heavy bag beside the door, knowing you can pick it up again tomorrow if necessary. But for now, you don't have to carry it. Not every burden needs to travel into sleep with you. Not every question deserves your midnight attention. Not every fear requires a response. Some thoughts can simply pass by, like clouds crossing a night sky, present, visible, but moving. And maybe, as this moment continues, you can allow yourself to soften just a little. Not completely, not perfectly, just a little. Let your shoulders rest, let your jaw loosen. Let your thoughts come and go without chasing each one. There is nowhere else you need to be. Nothing you need to prove, nothing you need to become before morning arrives. You have done enough for today, even if it doesn't feel like it, even if your mind argues, even if there are unfinished tasks, unfinished conversation, unfinished goals. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to exist without constantly preparing for the future. The night is not asking you to solve your entire life. The night is simply offering you a place to set things down for a little while. A quiet shoreline after a long swim. A warm blanket after cold weather. A soft light at the end of a difficult day. And maybe that's enough. Maybe this moment doesn't need to become anything larger. Maybe this moment can simply be what it is. A small pocket of calm. A breath. A pause. A reminder that you don't have to carry everything all at once. And wherever tomorrow leads, you can meet it then. Not now. Not tonight. Tonight can simply be about resting. About allowing. About letting yourself be human. And if your thoughts continue to wander, that's okay too. Minds wander. That's what they do. You don't have to force silence. You don't have to create perfect peace. You only need to be here. One breath, one moment, one quiet second at a time. wherever you are right now. I'm glad you made it here. Thank you for listening, liking, and commenting. Please share Soul Planet with someone who you think may need it.